Good morning, 2A. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend and is ready for another week of learning. So this week in math, we are going to be talking a little bit more about 3-digit and then eventually 4-digit numbers. So today we're going to do a quick lesson on comparing and comparing 3-digit numbers. So deciding which number is bigger and which number is smaller. We did a little bit of this when we were at school, but we're going to review it a little bit because it's been a long time. And that's what your assignment is today. So I'm going to share the whiteboard on my screen. So here we are on the whiteboard. And when we compare two 3-digit numbers, this is how we do it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write out a 3-digit number. I'm just going to type 3 numbers there. So we got 235, and I'm just going to type 3 numbers, 753. So these are our two numbers that we're going to be working on comparing. There we go. So the first step is always going to be to look at the largest place value. So remember, when we go here, over here, our 5 is in the ones. What place value is our 3 in? Our 3 is in the tens. And what about our 2? What place value is our 2 in? Our 2 is in the hundreds. So this is going to be something that you're going to need to remember. I'm going to abbreviate hundreds. If you already watched the abbreviations video, you probably know what that is. So I'm going to abbreviate my hundreds here. And so our 2 is in the hundreds. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the place value that's the biggest. And remember, when we talk about the biggest, we mean which number has the greatest value. And a value meaning, what does that number mean? What does that number stand for? And we talked about that a lot back in school. So in the hundreds, tens, and ones, my hundreds place is the biggest place. Because this 2, if I have 2 hundreds, what is the value of that 2? Yeah, the value is going to be 200. If I did this with base 10 blocks, I would have 2 hundreds blocks on my mat. So I'm going to start by comparing my hundreds. So I have a 2 and I have a 7. Do I already know which number is bigger? I do, because the hundreds, the 7 is bigger than 2. So I know if I have 2 hundreds versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hundreds, I can already see just looking at this that this is a bigger amount. So I know that 753 is bigger. So this is how I do it when the numbers are different. Now, sometimes we also might run into a problem where our numbers look like this. So if we look at that hundreds digit, they're the same. We both have a 2 in the hundreds place. So that means that we go to the next highest digit. So we're moving to the right every time. So if I'm looking at now, I'm going to look at my 3. So I see a 3 and I see a 5. Which number is bigger, my 3 or my 5? 5 is bigger. And what is the value of this 5? When I think about what this 5 really means, what does this 5 actually mean? Yeah, the value is 50 versus the value of this 3 is 30. And when I look at these, I know that 50 is greater than 30. So I know that 254 is greater than 234. And the same thing happens if we have numbers that are even more alike. So for this one, if we look at these two numbers, we notice the 2, we both have a 2 in the hundreds. They both have a 3 in the tens. So we're going to keep going one more to the ones, and we have a 5 and a 7. What are the values of these digits? Yeah, the value is 5, and then the value is 7. So I know that 7 is greater than 5, so I know that this is the bigger number. Remember our alligator if we put a little I here, Our alligator always eats the bigger number. His mouth always opens to the bigger number. So your assignment for today is going to be to work on comparing some 3-digit numbers. So I'm going to show you that now because I have not only, I'm going to go over the worksheet, but I'm going to show you a new way that we can do this if you don't have a printer at home. So let me start a new share here. So this is what your worksheet looks like. It's right from your book, so they should look familiar. So for the first part, you're going to circle the place value of the underlined digit, then write its value. So for this one, I'm going to decide, is the 7, because that's the number underlined, in the ones, the tens, or the hundreds? I'm going to circle that, and then I'm going to write the value. So up here in the example, the 3 is in the tens place, and they know that the value of the 3 is 30. And in here, the 9 is in the ones place, so they circled ones, and they know the value of that digit is 9. So that's what you're going to do for these first couple up here. Then here, you're going to write one of the signs on each line to make the equation true. So remember, you're either using less than, equal to, meaning the same, or greater than. Remember, your alligator is always going to eat the bigger number. So start at your biggest place value and work your way back. Then for number 3, you're going to fill in the missing digits to make each equation true. So there's more than one right answer. So let's look at the example here. They had 3 blank 7 is less than 347. So they had to fill in a number here that would make this one less than. So remember, the alligator is going to eat the bigger number. So this one has to be bigger than the choice. And so this person chose to put a 2 in here because they know that 2, if they look at the tens place, 2 is less than 4, which made this equation true. They could have also put a 3 here, or a 1, or a 0, and all of those would have been correct. So that's what you're going to do for the rest of these. Excuse me. Then on the back, we have a chart here about the length of some different types of sharks in centimeters. So you're going to look at the chart and use this chart to help you answer the questions. Which shark is the longest? Which shark on this chart is the shortest? You're going to use these symbols to make the sentence true. So the length of a tiger shark and the length of a whale shark. Which one's greater than, less than, or equal to? And the same thing with a big nose shark and a tiger shark. Then you're going to put the shark lengths in order from least or smallest to greatest or biggest. And remember to use that place value to help you here. And then they want to know, how much longer is a thresher shark than a tiger shark? Show your work and mark your answer clearly. So you can show your work here and then circle it, your answer, remember, at the end. So you can print this worksheet, but I know a lot of you were telling me over the weekend and last week that some of you don't have printers at home, and we have been having you do on a separate piece of paper. But I learned a really cool new thing about Google Forms. And so what I made is I made a Google form that looks like this, that has all the same questions as the worksheet. So if you can't do the worksheet because you can't print it or you don't want to do it on a separate piece of paper, you can fill out the Google form. So you're going to answer what your name is, and then you're going to pick your teacher. So Miss Riza or Miss Chin, so that way we know which class you're in. You're going to press next. Then the same worksheet questions are on here. I just typed them out instead. So here's the examples. It gives you the directions. And then it says what place value is the underlined digit in? And you're going to choose hundreds, tens, and ones. So this one's, you choose one. And once you choose it, you can just scroll to the next one. Then this one says, what is the value of the underlined digit? So here I want you to type using your keypad the value. And if you don't answer it, it will pop up red and will say, this is a required question. And you can go through all of the questions. They're on all the pages. And then at the end, you can submit it, and then I'll be able to see your answers, and you'll not have to have printed anything. So if you are interested in using this, I'm going to link this as well on the Class Dojo page, along with the video and the printable worksheet if you'd like to use that. So if you run into any questions or have any problems with the Google form or anything like that, send me a Class Dojo message or an email. And if not, I hope everyone has a magnificent Monday, and I will see you soon.